Today I'm here with filmmaker who is a producer behind Mayberry Man, which just came out, what, last month?
September 23rd, we debuted it in theaters of all places, and then October 1st, streaming, DVD, all that.
Right. Now, you crowdfunded this movie, correct?
So yes, that was the whole concept behind it, was to do a crowdfunding. It was, so if people don't know, it's Mayberry Man is inspired by the Andy Griffith Show. And our connection, my brother was the writer director, I was the producer. Our connection is that my father was an actor who appeared on the Andy Griffith Show. So we're kind of connected for life to this community, this fan community. And it's, the show is on TV every day, multiple times a day on multiple channels. It's people watch this every day. So my brother went to a festival and kind of got the idea that there might be a movie here, but Hollywood's probably not interested. So he thought, well, let's crowdfund it. He's always kind of had this idea to do Kickstarter. And I've dabbled with Kickstarter a little bit and the crowdfunding thing. And I said, you can't just put it up there and expect people to give you money. It just doesn't work that way. And so I did a little research, additional research, talked to a consultant actually, and I knew we had to build an audience for it, or a following for ourselves. And so oddly enough, I was doing a lot of Facebook advertising, and I'm like, well, let me look on Facebook and, targeting. And I looked up and you can target fans of the Andy Griffith Show, and on Facebook and in North America, it was like over 1 million in the audience size. I'm like, okay, I know where these people are. Let's develop this, let's cultivate an audience, build a list and all that stuff. And so we launched we kind of did a soft launch kind of with our own website. And for anyone who's thinking of crowdfunding, Kickstarter is a nightmare. I wouldn't use Kickstarter again. You're not really going to find audience there. And so, but I had a landing page where we started to collect some contributions. And then we did and that was in the fall of 2019. And then we launched it like January of 2020. Mm-hmm. And then ran a 45-day campaign, did $151,000 on Kickstarter. You don't collect all that.
Right.
So roughly we had about 150 to work with for the film.
That's great. And what do you think were the keys to the crowdfunding success? And Kickstarter's an all or nothing platform, so like you had to hit your goal. What was the goal? 150,000?
Yeah, we set the goal at 100. Well,
okay.
See, when we set out to do this film, if you look, we had other people look at the script as well, and it's like you need 300,000 to do this film. You just don't go on to Kickstarter with that kind of a budget. And so we then decided to do like maybe 200. And then we kind of, as the time to launch got closer, we kept lowering it. It's like, we got to hit our goal, So we eventually ended up at 100 and then did stretch goals, and all that strategy for Kickstarter does work if you study it and research it.
And so what would you say was the key to your success with it then?
It's having an audience, knowing your audience. And that's what I like about when I watch your videos and things. It's like you've got a marketing mindset. You have that marketing hat on. You got to know who your audience is. You got to develop a relationship with that audience. And that's what we did. We cultivated the audience. We had a core audience that was very enthusiastic about the subject. And we just kind of played to that. I see a lot of people trying to do crowdfunding and they just kind of put up a trailer or whatever. There's no face of the campaign. Oh, and that is critical. You got to have people back people. They don't back a movie. And for better or for worse, my brother didn't want anything to do with it. So I kind of became the face of the project. And it's uncomfortable at first, but I've gotten comfortable with it. And so I continue to do all these videos for our audience. And it's a big part of keeping positive energy and momentum going for your project all the way through, because, you kind of get into the production phase and the post-production. And, we took a year from the day of rolling cameras It was a year to the day that we actually did our red carpet screening in the town where we filmed. And, so it's a long time for people to wait around.
Yeah.
And they gave money long before that. So you got to keep them entertained and give them an experience beyond just, hey, we'll send you a DVD in 18 months.
So you were like doing video messages like throughout that year to the fans?
So I basically created something called Mayberry Man Behind the Scenes. So I would give regular updates, and each one of those updates, I tried to give them some of what's going on behind the scenes, just keep them informed. And then I would always try to tie into some sort of call to action. So if we had something to, if we were trying to raise some more money or sell something or whatever, and those would generally, be worth it. Every time, that's the thing, if you build a list, every time we blast an email out there, we bring in some revenue, and all that matters.
Right. And I was looking at it on IMDb. So there wasn't any name talent in it, correct?
Not really. Our lead actor is kind of a little bit known in the faith film community. But no, we always said that, our celebrity is the Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think this is a really good example, almost a template example of, taking a movie at a 6-figure budget level, 100,000 or over. And, typically a producer would say, well, you have to have some kind of, name talent in it, blah, blah, blah. But like you guys reverse engineered it from finding, a subject matter with an audience, kind of almost a built-in audience already.
Right.
And then it's just a matter of finding them and keeping them engaged.
Yeah. And, it's not really a movie going audience. And I think that was one of the struggles with this particular audience. It's, they like to sit at home and watch the Andy Griffith Show for free on television. So it's not exactly the kind of people they're going to head out to the movie theater or spend a lot of money. But, when we developed our following, they were very loyal and hardworking. They got to be involved in the production of the film. A lot of them are in the movie. A lot of them worked behind the scenes, and they continue to work really hard on promoting it. Right. We've got a show coming up this coming weekend, and one of the guys one of the characters in the movie, he's spearheading it. He lined up the theater. He's got a bunch of people coming in. He got sponsors to get hotel rooms for some of the cast members to come in from out of town. And it's just, when you can develop a community like that, it certainly makes it a lot more fun. It doesn't necessarily, we're not losing money, but we're also not making a lot of money either. So
right. So with what kind of perks did you give? I know you did a full DVD. Like what kind of stuff did you offer?
We kind of did the standard stuff. You got a DVD, digital download. We did an online screening, which is, originally when I thought of doing the online screening, I was thinking we could just screen the rough cut and get feedback, kind of like a focus group. But we ended up waiting and doing the full movie, the finished movie. Autographed copy of the shooting script. Probably the most popular one was being an extra in the movie. People wanted to be a part of that.
Oh, that's great.
Then we had another level that was like a featured extra. And so, my brother, who's an artist, he's a well-trained artist, storyboard artist for Disney and Nickelodeon for 30 years and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So, he designed a lot of that, a lot of the graphics and things. And so, and we came up with sort of clever names that tied into the Andy Griffith Show. But there's this little known featured extra in the Andy Griffith Show called Mr. Schwump. And he's like right there. He never speaks. No one knows who he is because his name is never in the credits. But we had a Mr. Schwump level, where you'd get to be like right there with the principal talent, but you don't get to talk,
Well, that's a great tie-in.
So a little thing, we tried to make it, relevant, and we did product placements. So we had product placement sponsors. So that was really helpful. And then we offered them even so the Andy Griffith Show, you don't see him anymore, but you can find him online. Andy and Don Knotts and them, they would do these promos for like Sanka coffee and things like that. So we kind of did, we'll do a promo for you while we're shooting, much like they did with the Andy Griffith Show. So just tried to be as clever as we could and deliver a lot of value and a great and experiences as well.
That's great.
So people signed on at like the associate producer level, and they're like, yeah, I want to help. It's like, do you know what you're getting into? And they came out and they were out there working the 14, 16-hour days.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. And so many times you hear with those credits too, people just basically give them away as a vanity credit, and people don't actually take part. But it looks like you actually tried to include them, which is that's different.
If they were willing, we accepted the help.
In regards to the crowdfunder, in regards to fulfilling your perks, like the physical perks, DVDs, and like that, did the costs offset the amount?
Yeah, I mean, I think we had decent margins in there, and it worked out. And we tried to cut costs by delivering them in person at when we were in production. So a lot of people picked up their hats and shirts and things like that to kind of try to shave on the postage costs, shipping costs and things. Probably just overcomplicated things and made my life harder.
How long are you still delivering stuff, or how long did it take?
Everything's delivered, but one thing you don't realize is, some people never give you their address. They don't respond to emails or phone calls if you even have a phone number. T-shirts are a nightmare because you got sizes involved. And so I've got a box of rewards that we need to ship that people never told us their shirt size. I'm not going to just ship random shirt sizes. Yeah. So if they want their stuff, they're going to have to contact us because we've tried. I've had volunteers calling and reaching out to people. So there's a lot more to it that goes on than it's just not that easy. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So did you guys totally foregone the film festival circuit? Like you didn't do festivals at all?
We basically we did 2 festivals, and that was strictly because they were local. So I'm in Indiana now, which I guess is where you're from, right?
Yeah, I'm from Fort Wayne.
Okay, so I live outside Indianapolis, originally from Southern California, but we shot a lot of it in Indy, and we had a big following here. So I entered it in the Heartland International Film Festival. We were selected for that and screened there. But other than that, it's the only festival we entered. And then we were asked to be in another Indiana festival down in Columbus. Gotcha. And so we did that, but that's it.
So it looks like you initially, like you're pretty much going for a DIY distribution approach for the most part. Was that intentional, or were you just testing the waters? Like what was your mindset?
Yeah, it was not my intention. So I'm partners with my brother, and we kind of go back and forth. Like I've had a bad experience with distributors. I did one movie before, so my background's production and everything, but it's more commercials and television. But I did one movie, had a bad experience with distribution, and I don't trust anyone.
Yeah, so, I can totally understand that.
And I think going into it, he was not distrustful, but then I guess some people got to him, and then he became kind of distrustful. And then he's talking to other people, maybe from the faith community or whatever, who talk about the way to do it if you want to make money is to self-distribute. And then he and this other guy wanted to do theatrical. It kind of got dragged into it because I wanted to hand it off and move on, and get on with my life. But now I'm like, neck deep into self-distribution, and it's fun, it's interesting, it's an experience.
Right. So you've done like a limited theatrical on your own. So you've ran 26 theaters in like a dozen states?
Something like that. Yeah. The most of them, because this film has small town appeal. So these are mostly small theaters, like old fashioned movie houses and things. So that's been cool to do that. There's just no profit in it, really. I mean, it's sort of self-liquidating advertising is how I look at it now. I mean, we've had a few shows where we made some money, and if you show up and do the merchandise thing, you can, make some money for your time, but you got to show up and do it. So, we kind of pick and choose though. I pick and choose those. It's mostly been Indiana because a lot of our supporters are here, and we can get, people show up dressed as the characters. We're being a Mayberry squad car. We've got a bluegrass band out of Ohio that's happy to jump in the van and head over and show up and play before our movies. And so, it's kind of an excuse for people to get together. So I think it's more about the fun than anything else, but it gives us extra credibility and helps spread the word about the movie, which we released on, Amazon for streaming.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to ask about that.
Go ahead. That's kind of where my focus is, because it's very difficult to scale this, do it yourself, theatrical and DVD sales and all that. So first month of Amazon looks promising. I don't know where that'll go. We're only doing
TV.
Yeah. So we'll see how long that lasts.
So
you said hammered a little bit on reviews, because when people pay for something, they have a stronger opinion.
Right. Yeah, you'll have that. And I honestly, I've been back and forth on my thoughts on the validity of user reviews as it regards to sales. And honestly, I'm kind of coming out to the point that I don't think they matter that much. Yeah. It has the only downside is, maybe driving away potential customers because they see the negative reviews. But aside from that, I don't think the reviews themselves hurt you so much in the algorithm if people are actually watching it, completing it, and buying something,
Yeah. Well, I think what's hurting us on Amazon is that we've had a lot of positive reviews, but they're people that didn't buy the movie on Amazon. They already own the movie. They were backwards,
right.
They got the DVD.
Doesn't help as much.
The theater. Yeah. So
I understand. So you said that in the first month, you launched in October 10/1 and you earned about 18,000 on TVOD there.
Yes, which has since been revised to about 17,000.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get used to this Amazon thing where the numbers are just constantly changing, or they don't report they haven't reported anything for the past week.
And it won't be solid finalized until the 16th of the following month, I think, is when they finally do it. So, but it'll be close. I'd imagine you'll probably be somewhere between the 17 and 18 when they finalize it. But I mean, that's a good opening for a movie like this.
It felt like it. And, I'm running Facebook ads to drive traffic to Amazon. And it's tough though, because I come from my background is infomercials, like direct response television.
Right.
So I'm used to knowing exactly what's happening. You run it one day, you run it that day, you find out your results that day. And this kind of being in the dark is tough, because you can't pixel the Amazon site, right? So just kind of trying to, I'm probably gonna have to wait 2 months to see the trends and figure out if it was doing any good. I don't know.
And it's still kind of anecdotal because you can't pixel it. You can't be sure that you actually got the purchase from the thing. You can only, anecdotally on this day, we got so many, but you can kind of figure it out, but not there is a huge element of trust and faith when it comes to Facebook ads.
Yeah. I mean, we're spending money. It's a lot more than the $1 a day, but we're not spending a ton of money. So I don't know how much impact it's having.
Yeah. You said you spent around $400 on it, something like that, or $500.
I think when I checked October, that's what it worked out to. Right. Currently, I think I'm set at $24 a day.
See, that's reasonable. Yeah. Well, when I talk about the $1 a day ads, I'm usually talking about older titles and, I'm talking or testing the waters. I'll start out at $1 a day and then pump up. So how did you approach the ads, nuts and bolts?
So I do have some Facebook advertising experience. It was more for local businesses. So the movie thing, I followed your video and I set up an ad exactly the way you did it. I've never done one of those. I forget what it's called, where it's the different creative where you have the.
Oh man, I forget now too. Something like expanded creative or.
I've never done one like that, and so I did that. It's a little hard to tell which one of those creatives is actually working, right?
Right.
But then I did a video one, and we were very fortunate to get the support. Okay, so. Another tie into the Andy Griffith Show is our family was friends with the Ron Howard family. And so my father was writing partners and best friends with Rance Howard, Ron's father. So, and then my older brothers were more Ron and Clint Howard's, age. And so they're old family friends. And so Clint Howard, who actually appeared on the Andy Griffith Show, he never spoke, but he did some promo videos for us early on. He was supposed to be in the movie originally, but then whatever, it didn't work out. But
yeah,
so I had some old promo stuff from him. And so I tagged his pitch for our movie with a short trailer. And that video was getting really good response. So that's where most of our money has been spent. And then you could see how much people are watching of the video percentage wise, 25, 50, 75, 95%.
right.
Huge watch time on that video with him pitching it. So, and then, I think I mentioned on that post, about 6 cents a click,
Yeah.
on both on both the ads, the variable and the Clint Howard one. So
yeah, and that's a good rate. Like I said, when I did that video, I was regularly getting, click-throughs at a cent, but in the last probably almost year, I don't think I've had any that have performed like that. I think my best performing right now is about 4 cents, and it's $1 a day ad. Yeah, that's great. So, and I know you were asking in your post, you were considering jumping into distribution from this point. Like, have you talked to distributors?
So we've talked to a few. Ended up talking to John Kim, is that his name?
Yeah. Sales agent. Yeah.
That I saw in one of your videos.
Yeah.
Didn't end up talking to him directly, but through his partner. And my thing is, I'm just not convinced it's going to make us more money, and you just lose control. I don't know. Well, I think he had a lot of good ideas and seems to have channels that he can get it to that, we can't. And then, I've talked to a couple others that want it, but it's all kind of pie in the sky stuff. And it would be nice to hand it off, but when you've been burned, it's really hard to go there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I think with this kind of opening, I mean, that's a good opening for self-distribution. I mean, I would ride that out as, until it drops off, and then think about trying something else, like, maybe FilmHUB or something like that down the line.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen you talk about indie rights as well, and I've heard other good things about them. And, but that's the other thing, by going out there and doing all this stuff ourselves, in many ways, we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot trying to go more traditional distribution. So
yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't think, I mean, you never know, like there's always exceptions, but the general rule of thumb is most distributors won't look at something after it's already been released. And you've already done not only theatrical, but you also have it on Amazon, so you're making money. But you could, like I said, there's not a huge difference between someone like, say, Indie Rights or doing FilmHUB, which FilmHUB's technically self-distribution because it's kind of like an aggregator, but it's the same reach, Tubi and all of those platforms. And but like I said, if you've already exhausted your TVOD, it's just gravy at that point.
And I think that's ultimately where this will have a life, because like I said, that it's an audience that sits home and watches free television. Now, they're not necessarily going to be on Tubi. Like, our audience is older, old-fashioned, they're watching broadcast, so any of these new platforms, like even going back to the crowdfunding thing, the Kickstarter confused the heck out of them.
I'm sure.
Like, there were a lot of customer service issues, let's say.
You uploaded to Amazon. I'm assuming you went through Prime Video Direct.
Yes.
Yeah. So you did that directly. Are you eligible to go free with Prime down the line, or
I think so? Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah,
I mean,
it seemed like we got in there right before the latest round of changes.
Yeah.
And so,
and with the movie performing so well, I would assume you shouldn't have too much trouble switching it over. And then eventually they may even mark it eligible for IMDBTv, through there without doing, a distributor or anything. So like that,
Okay.
after the TVOD is exhausted, I wouldn't switch over till TVOD drops off. But
So you can actually access IMDb through the Amazon platform?
yeah. So IMDb TV is owned by Amazon, but
Right.
it's totally up to them. It's really IMDb TV is really heavily curated. So, but if you have a title that's performing really well on Prime, then they will make the decision whether they want to give you the option to submit it.
Okay.
And now typically most people say you can only do that through distributors or aggregators. But I know a couple individuals that had titles that were performing so high that Amazon basically unlocked IMDb TV for that title. You know?
Were they performing on TVOD or was it?
No, they were like SVOD, like they are.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure both of these examples did windowing. So there was a high TVOD number, and then TVOD fell off. Then they put it on an SVOD. It did really well on SVOD, and then got picked up. Now, that's not to say that they won't go straight from TVOD to that. I honestly don't know. And then with these changes now, I really don't know.
Right.
Yeah, but I'd still say down the line. I mean, my advice would be down the line after TOD has fallen off, submit to FilmHUB. You know, it's no cost, and there's no risk. They get it up or they don't, and if they don't, it's not exclusive, and you can still take another avenue or do it yourself.
Right.
Yeah. So what's next then? What do you want to follow this up? Another feature or?
Well, so my brother has an idea for a sequel and possibly a third one, but we have this discussion. My argument is the way he wants to approach it is more going up higher budget. And I'm like, to me, I think you need to go lower budget if you want to make money.
Right.
Because I just don't know how you're going to make, if this doesn't make money, doesn't make millions, then how can you justify going to investors now as opposed to crowdfunding, and ask them, a half a dozen people to put in $100,000 each or whatever it is to do a more expensive film when you can't demonstrate that they're going to make their money back.
Right. Yeah, that's a hard decision. And you see so many filmmakers at that crossroad.
Yeah, we're already kind of almost in no man's land. Like if it's crowdfunded, right? So we're not out of pocket. We don't have to pay back investors a couple $100,000. So we're in good position in that regard, other than working for free for 2+ years. But see, my argument is if you want to capitalize on this genre, this Mayberry genre, is I say go lower budget,
right?
Make them simpler films. Like, he wants to be a filmmaker, right? So he's like approaching it. In fact, during production, we lost our UPM after the Tech Scout. So I think she didn't want any part of this.
Right.
It's like, this is too much work. This is unrealistic. And so I ended up being the UPM, which is not my forte. And so it's been a learning experience. And so I don't know. I enjoy the marketing aspect of it. And I see so many filmmakers who need help in that area.
Absolutely.
I don't know that I could make any money doing it because they don't have any money, but if I could figure out how to, like you're helping them, but if, I like the idea of finding opportunities and helping, because I know these filmmakers want to make films. They don't want to distribute. They don't want to market.
Yeah.
And so those aspects of it I enjoy. So if I can figure out how to help people, I might do a little bit of that.